What's up, everybody? Welcome to the goddamn show. This right here is going to be a short tutorial on ThinkorSwim. It's going to be trend lines, talking about different types of lines, not just a uptrend, downtrend. We're also going to be using a line for supports, resistances, and price targets. I'm gonna try to keep it short. I know this would have helped me when I first started out, so I figured I would go ahead and do it. I've seen a couple videos, and there's some things that they don't touch on that I would like to touch on. First of all, a trend line is a line indicating the general course of tendency of something, okay? So basically, a line, we all know a line is 2 points, okay? So if you load into ThinkorSwim, and I'm just using a random ticker here, and you pull up your chart, you're gonna see a few things. You're gonna see the candles, the wicks, the volume. You can put it on different time intervals. We'll just start with the day, the daily candles on the year, and go from there. First and foremost, the easiest thing to do is look and you notice the high of this particular stock is $44.05. Well, that's a good point on the year, and it turns out, I think, for the history of the stock to be its highest point. Okay, so obviously, very simple. That's a resistance. So I use different lines for resistances, but basically I'm just going to use the basic trend line tool in ThinkorSwim to show you that. So we're going to click here. Okay, it's a little tricky, but you want it to obviously be at 0 degrees, straight across. It's not, we don't want it going up or down. We're going to left click again. Okay, there's our line. When you have this line, you can right click, you can do a bunch of different things and show the name of it. If you wanted to put a name on it, you can change the value of where it's at. And you can do the extensions, colors, make it dotted, make it, thicker, whatever you wanted to do. But for just the tutorial, we'll leave it how it is. We can put on right extension right here, which is what we obviously need to do for the future, so we can see this stock, how it plays out if it ever reaches that resistance again or breaks it, so on and so forth. So what I do is as soon as I place it, I just right click, extend to the right. I mean, and we see it, and I'll make it a little bit brighter so everybody can see it a little clearer. We see the line clear as day, the very top, and that should never change. No matter what platform you're on, if you're on the mobile app, the computer, or the PC application, it doesn't matter. It's going to stay there and stay the same for all the future, okay? So we know this trend line, I think I have it at, so it's at the value of the highest point. So that's very simple. That is a resistance. That is an all-time highest resistance, all-time high, okay? Now, what we have here, in recent history is the same thing. What's the low? 31.94. I can do the same thing right here. Okay, you see the degrees. Put it on degrees. 0 degrees. Left click. Right click. Extend to the right. Boom. All time. I'm sorry, not all time low. This year's low. So it's kind of showed a little bit of a double bottom pattern. So this is a kind of a, if we were to do another one right here, somewhere in here, that'd be another good support that it looks like it's bouncing off of. Recent history, looks like there's another resistance right here. Pretty good resistance. It's been tested twice. Well, 3 times right here. So I would do another line, okay? Same thing, 0 degrees, right click. For me, I like changing the colors. I like this being the darker red, the lower I get being a little bit of a lighter red, or whatever color. You can do green. And then the bottom, I actually do, for supports, I do a blue color scheme. It makes it just look a little bit prettier, man. I like making the charts look pretty. So easier to read, easier to understand, for someone that's looking at them that hadn't really used your charting before. I like sharing my charts. I like having some input from other people, and if they can see clearly what you've drawn and how you have made it very visible, the trends, the supports, the resistances, they have a clearer concept of what you're trying to portray to them. So that's the basics of using a using the trend line tool. Remember, we have all kinds of different drawing tools. The trend line tool for showing supports and resistances. Okay. Now, I personally, this is just me, and I think the more you do it, you'll probably do it as well. So if you ever want to remove a drawing, you right click, remove drawing. Okay. So we're gonna go back to this. I like on these trend lines, you can name them, and these really aren't. This isn't a trend. These are supports and resistances. On these lines, you can use them, but you can never see the name, right? So if I just put support or SUPP, it will show up on the name. You see the name right there, but it won't show up on the chart itself. So let's say you have a different idea for the way that you want it to look, such as names. You want to display the price. The second and probably second most used line that I use is this price level tool, this price level drawing tool right here. It's the same thing. It's already level for you. You don't have to wiggle it around. You don't, none of that stuff. You simply just put it where you want it. So here's a resistance. We left click again. Okay. Again, this is a resistance. I would play with the color, make it a little bit, red, change the color. I'd put just like R, it would be a different type of resistance, but I would put resistance right here. Okay. Now the cool thing about this is in this, you can display the price, right? So put the price on the right, 44.04, that's fine. You put it on the left, doesn't matter. So we got R 40.04, sorry, 40.04. Now, that's great when you're doing like price targets, right? So let's say we don't, if we're looking at this stock in general, and I'm just quick glancing at it, here's if it'll come back up after the red markets today, if it'll keep on its path, the price target it should hit is right around here, and then it should go to here, maybe have a little bit of a resistance, and then on to here. So that's why these are price targets. Whoa, that's why these are price target or price level lines, what they're called, because they're very good at setting, I would say price target 1, So that's the first price target we're trying to reach off of this bounce. There's the value. I want to display it on the right. Okay, showing the name on the right. You can show on the left if you want. You can do something like this. Price target 1. Problem with that is the farther you go in time. Okay, so if we zoomed in 4 hours and the farther we went on in time, whoa, you get the idea. The price target would stay over here where I had left it. So I like displaying them both on the right, leave it like that, and go on into the future and see what happens. So you can do the same thing down here. You can use as a supports too. Like I said, they're straight lines. Now let's go on to part 2 of using trend lines in an actual uptrend and downtrend. Now using trend lines in more of a uptrend type down or a downtrend type pattern, it's a lot more viable that way. It's a lot more useful. So let's say we're looking at Micron here. Let's just say, we don't know anything that's happening in the future. We can't. I know I zoomed in here, but it's for the sake of the tutorial. Let's pretend this is the time frame we have. This is as much knowledge as we have. The number one rule about trend lines is the more touches or the more points of contact in the candles or the wicks, the stronger the trend is. Minimum, obviously, 2 touches, right? You can use them in 15-minute intervals or 15-minute candles, daily candles. It doesn't matter. A trend is a trend no matter what, okay? So if I was to draw myself a trend line right here, which it's obviously an uptrend, we see just a slight uptrend right here, I would go to the drawing tool, or you can right click on the point and add drawing and click it. It locks that point when you do that. So I like doing this up here just so I have the tool and I can start where I want. Okay. So a lot of people, the way I had learned this, and I've actually changed the way I do it nowadays, whatever you do, whether you do the base of the candle or the wick of the candle, that's what you have to follow. I can't go wick to base to wick. Okay. Now, I've kind of found that to be a little bit bullshit. Okay. It's all about the closing of the candle, is what I've learned. The closing of the candle helps me, helps understand, whether that's going to be falling below my line or not. So I kind of mix and match. As long as it is not closing outside of my trend, in this case below my trend, I'm good to go. So of course, I'll start with the wick right here. There's another wick. Okay. There's 2, 3, 4, and a little bit of a base right there. Okay. I'm going to go on. I'm going to see one more wick right here, I think. Yeah. It'd be touching that wick right there. That candle did not close below the candle in the middle that you see around late April. It did not close below my line, so I'm good. So I would left click. Pretend everything to the right doesn't exist. I'm sorry about that. So we have a very clear trend, okay? Very strong trend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 points of contact, okay? That's a good trend. Same thing, we're going to extend it to the right. Remember, we don't know what's happening in the future right here. Extend it to the right. There's our trend. So if this bullshit wasn't here, we would expect a bounce off this, not even this red candle. Let's say the game ended right here, the day ended right here. We're expecting a bounce, okay? That obviously didn't happen, okay? So we had a trend break and go back down. So now we can draw a downtrend. So one thing I failed to mention is when you're looking at an uptrend or a downtrend, for an uptrend, I know it looks simple here, but I want to be very clear because some people might not understand. Previous lows have to be lower than new lows, okay? Or new lows have to be higher than previous lows. It's the same thing. So here's my low at around 39.65, 39.60. Here's the new low at 45. Okay. Here would have been another low and another low, but it didn't happen. Okay. So that's an uptrend. Now, same thing occurs with a downtrend. Now let me go back. So now this trend is broken. Okay. This is going to be much easier to draw. For me at least. Same thing with a downtrend. Okay. Here's our high, wick. There's 2, there's 3. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can I bring it in? Yes, I can. 6 wicks. Okay. Let me extend this. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Nothing here. 5, 6. We have 6 points, all wicks, contact on this downtrend. Downtrend is you use the top of the stock, okay? It's top of the day. So new tops are lower than previous tops. Shows down. We don't draw a downtrend down here, okay? We use bottoms on the uptrends. We use tops on the downtrends. All right. So we know here that this trend was broken again, okay? And now when a trend breaks, that's a bullish, a downtrend breaks, that's a bullish movement. When an uptrend breaks, it's a bearish movement. So we could restart over and start a line here again, okay? Excuse my dog barking. Hope that made sense to y'all. I know it would have helped me if I'd have found something like that at the beginning of when I started trying to do analysis and invest and things like that. So if y'all did enjoy it, learn something from it, leave a like, comment, subscribe to your boy. Y'all have a good day.